We continue the story about the necklace in part 2. The story thus far is that Mathilde always wanted a rich life, lots of nice dresses, a palatial mansion. She wanted to be envied by everyone, and finally one day she gets a chance to attend a party at the Ministry of Education. She gets her husband to give her 400 francs to buy a beautiful dress. But she doesn't have any jewelry, so she goes to her friend Madame Forestier, who is a rich lady, and borrows a diamond necklace from her. She wears the necklace along with her dress, and she goes to this party where she is the belle of the ball. She enjoys herself tremendously, dancing and being envied, or people being jealous of her because she looked so beautiful. And then finally they come back to their home. She and her husband, tired from the party, and she goes in front of the mirror to check herself and see how beautiful she looks with that lovely ball gown and her necklace. And she gives a little cry because she finds that there is no necklace on her neck. So her husband also now is very worried. Now let's begin with part 2. They looked in the folds of her dress, in the folds of her cloak, in her pockets, everywhere, but they couldn't find it. "Are you sure you still had it on when you left the hall?" he asked. "Yes, I touched it in the hall at the ministry," she replies. "But if you had lost it in the street, we would have heard it fall. It must be in the cab or the taxi." "Yes," she says, "that's probably it. Did you take the number?" "No," he says. They stared at each other stunned. At last Loisel put his clothes on again. "I'm going back," he said, "over the route we walked, and see if I can find it." Now, when we lose things also, we take the track behind on the path that we were moving or walking, and we try to see if something has fallen down there. He did the same thing. He went all over the place where he walked to see whether it had dropped there. So he leaves the house, and she remained in her ball dress all night, her mind blank. Her husband returned at about 7 o'clock in the morning, but he found nothing. After that, he went to the police, to the newspapers to offer a reward for anyone who got the necklace, to the cab or the taxi companies. Everywhere the tiniest glimmer of hope meaning any tiny small chance of him finding the necklace or something positive happening, he went there. And she waited all day long in despair, absence of hope, worry, sadness at this frightful disaster. Now, what efforts did Loisel make to find the necklace? Loisel went to the police, to the newspapers to offer a reward, and the cab companies to look for the necklace. Before that, he looked in the folds of Mathilde's dress and cloak. He also went back and searched the entire route they had walked on the previous night. And this is the loose garment which is called a cloak. Continuing with the lesson, Loisel returned in the evening, a hollow, pale figure. He had found nothing. "You must write to your friend," he said. "Tell her you have broken the clasp of a necklace and that you are having it mended. It will give us some time to look more." She wrote as he dictated. Now, he returns back, his hollow, pale figure, meaning so upset, so tired, so desolate. He finds nothing, and then he tells her, "Now you please write to your friend and tell her that you have broken the clasp." The clasp is the part where we join both parts of the necklace together. "And tell her you are having it mended." Mended is an old word for repaired. And why? So that we can have more time to look, so she thinks that we are repairing the necklace, but we are actually searching or looking for the necklace. At the end of 1 week, they had lost all hope. And Loisel, who suddenly looked aged, he suddenly looked older. He says, we must now consider how to replace the jewel. Now here, jewel is not one stone or one jewel, it means the necklace. Okay. And so they went from jeweler to jeweler, looking for a necklace like the other one, consulting their memories, trying to bring back in their minds what that necklace looks like and trying to search for something that looks similar or alike. And both of them were sick with grief and anguish. That means extremely sad, painful situation for both of them. Now, in a shop at the Palais Royal, which is a big place where people who have a lot of money shop, okay, they found a string of diamonds which seemed to be exactly what they were looking for. It was worth 40,000 francs. They could have it for 36,000. So they found a string of diamonds in a shop. It seemed to be exactly what they were looking for, and it would cost 40,000 francs. That was the currency in France. Okay, how we have rupees, they have francs. The jeweler told them that they could have it for 36,000 francs. Now, what is implied in a hollow pale figure? Meaning, what is the meaning of a hollow pale figure? Loisel looked everywhere for the necklace. He returned home empty-handed, tired, discouraged, and very sad. And that figure, how he looked like, was a hollow, pale figure. So they begged the jeweler not to sell it for 3 days. And they made an arrangement that he would take it back for 34,000 francs if the other necklace was found before the end of February. Now, a deal made with the jeweler. We'll buy it from you for 36,000 francs. And if we find the necklace before the end of February, then we don't need two necklaces. So we'll come and give you back your necklace and you pay us 34,000 francs. Now, from where were they going to get the 34,000 francs? Let us see. Loisel had 18,000 francs, which his father had left him. He would borrow the rest. And he did borrow. He gave notes, that is IOU notes, I owe you money. So just writing them and giving those notes to people he borrowed from. He made ruinous agreements, some silly damaging contracts he made with people just to get money. And he dealt with every type of money lender. Then he went to get the new necklace and laid down on the jeweler's counter 36,000 francs. It took him some time and he made a lot of bad deals because he wanted money in a hurry. But he gave the jeweler 36,000 francs and took the necklace from the jeweler. When Madame Loisel took the necklace back, Madame Forestier said coldly means not very happily, "You should have returned it sooner. I might have needed it." So she was a little annoyed. Why so much of time to return my necklace? What was the arrangement with the jeweler? Do you think it was fair? The Loisels found a similar necklace for 36,000 francs. They begged the jeweler not to sell it for 3 days. If they found the other necklace before the end of February, he would take the necklace back for 34,000 francs. It seemed to be a fair deal. Why did Madame Forestier speak coldly to Mathilde? Mathilde returned the necklace to a friend after more than a week. She also told her that the clasp was broken. Maybe Madame Forestier didn't like the delay, as she may have wanted to use the necklace. She also may have thought that Metal was careless to have broken the clasp. So she spoke to her coldly. Now, this part where we join the necklaces together is known as a clasp. From then on, Madame Loisel knew the life of the very poor, but she played her part heroically, just like a hero, very bravely. The dreadful debt, the loan that they took from so many people must be paid. They dismissed or they threw out their maid. They changed their lodgings, a place where a person lives, and they rented a garret under a roof. Now, a garret is, a bungalow which has a sloping kind of roof. That roof on the top over there is a segregated place where they use it to store extra things in the house. So they got something like that, having only one window. Okay, they rented that place, which is called a garret, under someone's roof. She came to know the drudgery of housework, how difficult it is to do housework, the odious or extremely unpleasant labors of the kitchen. Because now Mathilde had to wash the dishes, she had to wash the dirty linen, that is bed sheets, tablecloth, etc. She carried the garbage down to the street every morning from her garret right on top there, and then carried up water. And every step landing she took, that is the stairs, she had to catch her breath, and she dressed like a commoner. That was very bad thing for her, because she always loved her beautiful dresses, nice looking rich dresses, but now she dressing just like a ordinary person. Moreover, she had to bargain at markets, quarrel and face insults over every miserable sou. Meaning, before she used to go and buy things and pay the money. Now she is bargaining, trying to make it for less. Okay, and quarrel with the people, face insults. Why? Because she had to save every miserable sou, meaning like how we have rupees and paise, they had francs and sous. So 100 paise make a rupee. In the same way, sous make up francs. Okay. Now, each month they had to pay some loans, they had to renew others, get more time. Her husband also worked extra every evening doing accounts for a tradesman, a businessman. And often also late into the night, he sat copying a manuscript at 5 sous a page. A manuscript is a book written by hand, or it's music written by hand, something like this picture here on top. So late into the night he would do it, and he would get 5 sous a page. Now this kind of life lasted 10 years. At the end of 10 years, they had paid off everything, even the interest that they had taken, that they had to pay on the loans. Madame Loisel looked old now. She often brooded over the past. She thought over the past very unhappily. What would have happened if she had not lost that necklace? How strange life is, how fickle, how little is needed for one to be ruined or saved. So she thinks very unhappily, why did I take that necklace? How strange life is, how quickly it changes, and how one small mistake or a wrong decision can either make our lives good or ruin our lives. So this was the time that she was working so hard. At the same time, she kept thinking of all the things that she had done which was wrong. What was meant by the horrible life of the very poor? The Lozelles dismissed their maid, changed their lodgings and rented a garret under a roof. Mathilde washed dishes and the dirty linen. She carried garbage down the street and water up the stairs. She bargained at the market and had to face many insults. Her husband also worked extra doing accounts and copying manuscript to earn extra money. And so both of them were now living the horrible life of the very poor. Moving on with the lesson. One Sunday, as she was walking in the Champs-Élysées, suddenly she saw Madame Forestier, still young, still beautiful, still charming. Madame Loisel felt emotional. Should she speak to her? Yes, of course. And now that she had paid, she would tell her all. Why not? So she went up to her and said, "Good morning, Jean." The other, astonished to be addressed so familiarly by this common woman, did not recognize her. She stammered, "But madame, I don't know. You must have made a mistake." "No, I'm Mathilde Loisel." Her friend uttered a cry. "Oh, my poor Mathilde, how you've changed." "Yes, I have had some hard times since I last saw you, and many miseries, and all because of you." "Me? How can that be?" "You remember that diamond necklace that you lent me to wear at the ministry party?" "Yes." "Well, I lost it." Okay. So, one evening on a Sunday, she was walking in the Champs-Élysées. That's a beautiful touristic place in France where everyone wants to see that huge avenue. People go walking there. She suddenly saw Madame Forestier. And Madame Forestier was still young, still beautiful, still charming. Now, what contrast is implied by the word still? Why are they saying still young, still beautiful, still charming? Now, Mathilde had to face a life of drudgery and poverty. She had many hardships in the last 10 years, which resulted in her looking old. Her friend, on the other hand, Madame Forestier or Jean, was still rich and lived a good life. And so, the word still is used here. She still looked young, beautiful, and charming. Okay, so Mathilde goes up to her. She says, "Okay, now I have finished paying up everything. I've paid my debts up. I've finished paying for the necklace. So let me go to her and tell her about it." So she goes and she tells her, but Madame Forestier is wondering, who is this person calling her by her first name? She didn't recognize her. So she says, "I don't know you. You must have made a mistake." So she says, "No, no, I'm Mathilde Loisel." Her friend was shocked. She says, "Oh my God, my poor Mathilde, how have you changed?" So she says, "Yes, I have had hard times since I last saw you, and it's all because of you." So her friend asks her, "Why because of me?" So she says, "Because I borrowed the necklace from you to wear at the ministry party, and at that ministry party, I lost it." "What do you mean you brought it back?" "I brought you back another exactly like it, and it has taken us 10 years to pay for it. It wasn't easy for us. We had very little, but at last it is over, and I'm very glad." Madame Forestier was stunned. "You say that you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine?" "Yes, you didn't notice then? They were very similar." And Mathilde smiles with proud and innocent pleasure. She's so happy that her friend didn't even recognize that they bought another necklace and they gave it to her. Madame Forestier, deeply moved, feeling very emotional, took both Mathilde's hands. "Oh, my poor Mathilde, mine was an imitation. It was worth 500 francs at most." Okay, so they met here. This is the Champs-Élysées. Okay, a place where people walk around, and they met one another here. And here, Mathilde comes to know at the climax of the story that all the terrible life she had for the last 10 years was for nothing, because it was not a diamond necklace at all. It was only an imitation, and it was only worth 500 francs. So that brings us to the end of part 2 and the story The Necklace. Who do you think was responsible for Mathilde's misery? Was it her friend, she herself, her husband, or the circumstances, the things that went on at that time? I'm sure you all agree that it was she herself who was responsible for her misery, because instead of being satisfied with her life, she was greedy and wanted another kind of rich life. So she borrowed the necklace from her friend, and when she lost the necklace, she decided to be untruthful instead of going to her friend and telling her the truth. And this led to her misery and being, after 10 years looking like this. Okay. If she had gone and told her the truth, everything would have been fine, and she would have had probably to pay her 500 francs, and life would have gone on as normal. Okay. Yeah. So what would have happened if she had not lost that necklace? Who knows? Who knows? How strange and changeful is life. How small a thing is needed to make or ruin us. Words by Guy de Maupassant. He is the person who wrote the book The Necklace.